The moment you stop explaining yourself, people begin to panic. Not loudly, not obviously, but internally. Something in them tightens. Because silence breaks the rules they've been using to control you. Picture this: Simone questions your intent. A coworker doubts your competence. A partner twists your words. An online stranger attacks your character. Your body reacts instantly. Heat rises in your chest. Your heart rate spikes. Your mind races, desperately searching for the right explanation. The perfect sentence that will make them understand you, forgive you, or back off. That urge feels natural. It feels human. But it is also the exact moment you lose power. Because when you rush to speak, you are not communicating, you are submitting. The modern world has trained you to believe that clarity equals strength, that explaining yourself is maturity, that silence is weakness. But beneath the surface of every social interaction, a darker law operates, one that has nothing to do with truth, fairness, or being understood. IT has everything to do with control of the frame. The person who explains accepts the accusation is valid. The person who defends accepts the other person as judge, and the person who rushes to speak reveals one fatal thing. They need approval to feel safe. Silence terrifies people because it removes the script. When you stay quiet, the attacker has nowhere to land, no resistance to push against, no emotional feedback to feed on. Their accusation, which was meant to provoke, suddenly floats in the air unanswered, and that unsettles the human mind. Most people are not attacking you for truth. They are attacking to test position. They want to see if you will flinch, if you will justify, if you will chase their approval, and when you don't. The power dynamic fractures. This is why silence feels so uncomfortable to you as well. Your nervous system was conditioned early. As a child, when authority figures accused you, explanation was survival. You learned that safety came from proving innocence, from being understood, from managing the emotions of those above you. But you grew up, and that survival wiring never shut off. Now, every raised eyebrow feels like a trial. Every accusation feels like a verdict waiting to happen. And every moment of silence feels dangerous, even though it's the exact opposite. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is refusal. Refusal to accept their frame. Refusal to validate their emotional authority. Refusal to step into a role you were never assigned. When someone attacks and you stay silent, their brain does something fascinating. It starts filling the gap. Humans are wired to resolve tension. Silence during conflict creates a psychological vacuum, and the mind rushes to close it. They begin to second-guess themselves. They over-explain. They walk their accusation back. They start defending against you, even though you never said a word. This is the moment the balance shifts. But here's the part no one tells you. Silence only works if it's real. If inside you're shaking, desperate to be understood, the silence leaks. It comes off as passive, fearful, weak, and people sense that instantly. Real silence comes from internal sovereignty, from knowing that their perception does not define you, from understanding that not every accusation deserves oxygen, from realizing that your worth does not require constant explanation. Most people live as emotional mirrors. Someone disapproves, they shrink. Someone accuses, they explain. Someone misunderstands, they scramble to fix it. Their entire identity is reactive, shaped by the moods and opinions of others. That is exhausting. And, worse, it is visible. Silence disrupts this cycle completely. When you don't react, you force others to confront their own aggression without your participation, and many people cannot tolerate that. They are not prepared to sit alone with their own tension. This is why silence is suddenly scaring people, because it exposes motives, because it removes leverage, because it reveals who needs control and who doesn't. Silence is not passive. It is active restraint. And restraint is the rarest form of dominance in a reactive world. When someone attacks you, their goal is not resolution, it's engagement. Engagement gives them access. Access gives them influence. Influence gives them power. Silence cuts that chain at the source. This is why manipulators escalate when ignored. They raise their voice. They repeat themselves. They label you. They provoke harder. They are trying to pull you back into the game. Because, without your reaction, their attack collapses. Silence communicates one thing with brutal clarity. I am not playing, but there are moments when silence alone is not enough. Moments when words are required, not to defend, but to reframe. This is where most people fail. They respond to accusations by pushing back, by listing facts, by justifying intent, and every word tightens the trap. Instead, power comes from refusing the role of defendant. In any confrontation, there is an invisible structure. One person asks questions. The other answers. The one answering loses status. The one questioning controls the interaction. So the moment you stop answering and start observing, the structure collapses. When someone asks, "Why are you like this?" and you reply, "Why does this bother you so much?" the spotlight moves instantly. Now the conversation isn't about your behavior. It's about their emotional investment. That shift is devastating to anyone trying to control you. Another advanced tactic is agreement, but not submission. This is where most people misunderstand power. When you defensively deny an accusation, you validate it as serious. When you calmly agree with the factual part and ignore the insult, you disarm it completely. You messed this up. You're right. I did. Notice what you didn't address. You didn't accept shame. You didn't accept identity labels. You accepted reality and moved on. Only insecure people fight to protect their image. Secure people don't need to. And this is the core reason silence is so powerful. It exposes insecurity in others and in yourself. If an insult wounds you deeply, it's because it touched something unresolved. Silence forces you to confront that shadow, to own the parts of yourself you've been hiding from. Once you do, shame loses its grip. A person who has accepted their flaws cannot be controlled through them. A person who knows who they are does not need to explain it. This is why silence feels dangerous at first. Because it removes the crutch of validation. It forces you to stand alone in your certainty. But once you do, something changes. People treat you differently. They choose their words more carefully. They hesitate before accusing. They sense boundaries they can't see, but feel, not because you became aggressive, but because you stopped leaking power. Here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, explain nothing unless absolutely necessary. If you're late, state the fact, not the reason. If someone misunderstands you, let them. If you're accused, pause before responding. Feel the discomfort. Feel the urge to correct the narrative. And don't watch what happens. You'll notice confusion first, then recalibration, then a quiet respect. Because nothing signals inner certainty louder than a person who does not need to defend their existence. Silence is not absence. It is presence without permission. And once you master it, people don't just hear you differently. They feel you differently. That's why silence is scaring people right now, and why it will protect you more than any explanation ever could. If this way of thinking resonates, if you're done performing, proving, and pleading to be understood, then you already know what comes next. Stay silent, stay grounded, and let the world adjust to you. Subscribe if you want to move through the world without needing permission, approval, or validation. This channel isn't for everyone, only for those who understand power is silent.